Hello everyone, Brett here. I hope you're all doing well today. In today's video, I'm going to be baking sweet potato black bean burgers. So I've made these a lot of times before, but I've never actually written down the recipe, but I'm pretty sure I'll remember it, and this time I'm going to write it down so that it'll be an official recipe so I can go back to it and make it the same each time. So let's go head to the kitchen and get started. For this recipe, you'll need about 4 medium to large sweet potatoes or yams, 1 onion, 2 15-ounce cans of black beans, about 3/4 cup of walnuts, and some oat flour or oats, and I'm not sure exactly how much because I usually just eye it, but I will leave the exact amount in the description. And then you just need your spices. You can use whichever spices you want, but I'm going to use garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, cumin, and salt and pepper. So I'm gonna cook my sweet potatoes in the Instant Pot, but you can cook them in the oven too. So you're gonna pour about 1 cup of water in the bottom of the Instant Pot, and then just place the sweet potatoes on top of this thing so that they're not touching the water. I'll put the lid on. Make sure it's in the sealing position at the top. And now we're going to set this for manual and 16 minutes. So it's going to take some time to build up the pressure, and then after it's done cooking, you want to let the pressure release naturally for about 10 minutes. Preheat the oven for 375 degrees. Now we're going to take the walnuts and put them in a food processor. And you want these to get pretty fine, so almost like a powder, but not quite. And that's what it looks like. And then you're going to do the same thing with the oats. So you want to turn this pretty much into oat flour. And I'm not going to start with all of it. I'm going to start with this much. And then when I add it to the rest of the ingredients, I'm just looking for a certain consistency that I'll show you later. So we'll just kind of eye it as we go, and then I'll let you know the exact amounts in the description. Alright, so this is about the consistency that you're looking for with the oat flour. If it's a little bit more fine or less fine than that, it'll be fine. Now you can either finely dice your onion or add it to a food processor and do it that way. So it's nice and finely diced like that. Now you're going to want to drain and rinse your black beans. And once the water runs clear like that, they're pretty much good. So make sure you get all that water out. Alright, so the sweet potatoes are done. I've peeled them and this is what they look like. They have just a really mushy texture and that's what you want. So I've got oat flour and black beans in this large bowl. We're gonna add all the ingredients in here and just mix it all together. So here is the chopped up walnuts. Finely chopped onions. Spice mixture, and I'll put all the exact ingredients in the description. And the sweet potatoes. Now, usually I would just take my hands and mix this all together, but the sweet potatoes are still pretty warm. So I'm going to get a utensil. Actually, I can use these two wooden spatula things. And just get this all mixed together. And you do want to kind of smush the black beans a little bit when you're mixing this all together. That would work better with your hands. So I'll probably mix this like this until it cools down a bit and then get in there with my hands. And this is quite a large batch, but I usually do cook recipes in large batches just to last about, I'd say about 5 days. And you can always form these into patties and then freeze them and then just cook them later. Or if you just don't want to make such a large batch, you could just half this recipe. All right, let's see if this is cooled down enough for me to work it with my hands. Yeah, it is. So let's just mix this real good. Make sure all that oat flour gets mixed in well. And actually, it might have been a better idea to mash about half the black beans before you do this, because it is kind of hard to actually mash them once you add the sweet potatoes. So the consistency is still pretty mushy, so I think I'm gonna add some more oat flour to this. All right, so I've got some more oat flour here. I'm just gonna add that in. So the total amount of oats that I'm gonna end up using was 2 cups. And I'll put that in the ingredients list on the description, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use less than that, but I did end up needing to use all 2 cups. Now we're going to pad these out and put them on these baking sheets. I've lined them with parchment paper, but I'm also going to just do a little bit of olive oil and then spread it around on here. This is optional, but I think this will work out pretty good. Now let's pad these out. So I'm just gonna take a ball, lay it down and smush it, just like that. Alright, so now we've got our burgers all patted out and ready to go. This is what they look like. So the consistency is still fairly mushy, but that's to be expected with this recipe. Alright, so now that the oven is preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to go ahead and pop these burgers in the oven. And these are going to cook for about 40 minutes to an hour. I'll set it to 45 and see how that goes. Now that it's been about 25 minutes, you're going to want to take your burgers out of the oven and flip them over to make sure they're cooking even on both sides. Just flip these over, and you can see as they've cooked, they've kind of stiffened up some, so they're not quite as just a blob of mush now. They've actually formed into burger patties. And the smell is amazing. You can smell those onions cooking in there with the spices. Alright, so now that those are all flipped, we'll just pop them back in the oven. And you want to continue to let those cook for another 20 to 30 minutes. Alright, it's been about another 30 minutes, so let's take the burgers out of the oven. They should be done. Alright, here's what they look like. hope you all enjoyed this recipe video, and if you decide to bake it, make sure and let me know in the comment section. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. See you guys next time.